おやおや、お二人さん、白昼堂々お熱いね。
親父
Nisekoi is quite possibly one of the best romance comedy anime of all time. And funnily enough, unlike my last video, I'm actually not joking. As a person who quit this soulless genre of rom-com and slice-of-life anime since high school, looking back at the hundreds of truly degenerate shows I've watched over the years, I honestly think that Nisekoi had something more to offer than that. And I personally think that Nisekoi is the creme de la creme of the root for a best girl type show, even to this day. In today's landscape of anime, we've definitely had some bangers come out in the recent years, with the arrival of new fans all over. Successes like Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, Demon Slayer, Bleach Thousand Year Blood War, Attack on Titan the final season part 3, the final chapters part 1, bringing in interest in the newest shows and revolutionizing trends in anime today. I wanted to touch on something that came out when I was a new anime fan, exploring the deep dark trenches of rom-com anime after exhausting the greats of that era. With the romance space being incredibly clogged up with what I would call waifu bait shows like My Dress Up Darling, Rent a Girlfriend, and I guess Oshinoko, every time I see one of these I get reminded why I stopped watching this genre altogether today. But then again, I did sincerely enjoy my time watching shows in this genre back then, and I wanted to spotlight something that truly changed my perspective on how good this genre of shows can be. As the show is quite old by today's standards, and they never really bothered to actually finish the entire plot in the anime, here's a quick rundown of the general setup. Nisekoi, or False Love, centers on the star-crossed protagonists Ichijo Raku, the son and heir to a prominent Yakuza family, and Kirisaki Chitoge, the daughter of an American crime boss operating in Japan, ensnared in an undesired, feigned romance to prevent their rival families from erupting into a gang war. Their lives become an intricate ballet of faux affection. Their theatrics are further complicated by a childhood promise Raku made with a mystery girl, represented by his only memento, a locked pendant. A labyrinth of love unfolds as multiple keys and claimants to the promise emerge, keeping the audience forever on our toes. Now, some may be tempted to generalize this show based off that brief explanation, albeit simplistically, to the standard trope-infused romantic comedy show. But I think otherwise, as Nisekoi to me is an impressionistic painting. Each character is a brushstroke, adding depth and color to the narrative canvas. Additionally, Nisekoi offers the unique charm of evoking classical literature themes, that of false identities and masked affections. Yet, it still remains grounded in the pulse of modern emotional dilemmas. Its genius lies in its character development, each one a deceptively deep well of emotions and revelations. We see Raku's struggle with responsibility and love, and Chitoge's battle between her hardened exterior and her vulnerable heart. Looking at the main characters closer, we can see something a bit more than your usual boring rom-com high school characters that typically permeate the genre. Ichijo Raku is the heir to a Yakuza clan, so his life is a kaleidoscopic amalgamation of rom-com tropes and crime thriller plot devices. Yet he embodies the paradoxical struggle of every man torn between duty and desire. Meanwhile, looking at Kirisaki Chitoge, she's fierce, proud, and outrageously adorable in a way that defies all logic and reason. Chitoge is the embodiment of the tsundere archetype, elevated to a level of near-divine perfection. Each stomp of her foot sends tremors through the fabric of the narrative itself, reshaping the world around her into a seismic masterpiece of emotional turmoil. The minor characters too are not just window dressing, each one is a tapestry unto themselves, bringing their own keys, promises, and unrequited feelings to the table, turning a seemingly straightforward tale into a complex mosaic of human emotions. Visuals are also a key aspect of its charm, each frame meticulously crafted by Studio Shaft, the studio that did the Monogatari series and Madoka Magica, two boundary-pushing shows that broke the conventions of their own respective genres. The show's visuals draw you in, almost like an interactive art piece, teasing the senses and elevating the narrative. It's also important to note that while Nisekoi indulges in quite a bit of light-hearted banter and comedic misunderstandings, it never strays from its exploration of love's complexity. This is not your typical saccharine teenage tale, but an exploration of the human heart's labyrinthine corridors. So, what sets Nisekoi apart in this vast sea of romantic comedies, from the classic ones to the modern-day hits? I'd argue it's the subtle humanity in its narrative. In its orchestrated chaos, it mirrors our own experiences with love and friendship, reflecting how we often stumble, unsure and confused, through this beautiful mess we call life. In essence, Nisekoi is an ode to the unpredictability of love, wrapped in the package of a richly illustrated, beautifully scored anime, sprinkled with a sense of timeless humor that transcends cultural boundaries. Yes, it makes you laugh, it makes you cry, it frustrates you, and at times it even annoys you. I'm not trying to say the show is perfect by any means, but just like real life, isn't that what makes the journey worthwhile? Nisekoi doesn't just entertain, and I know I threw this phrase a lot around in my Oshinoko video as a joke, if you haven't seen it, but in my opinion, Nisekoi actually encapsulates the human condition. Nisekoi is not just a simple romance comedy show, and I truly think it actually is a narrative masterpiece. It transcends genres, refuses to be pigeonholed, and presents us with a vivid, resonant portrayal of life's comedies and tragedies. And that is Nisekoi.